Today I am in São Paulo in Brazil and meeting Roberto Smeraldi, the head of Friends of the Earth. Today it's 1 year before the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. It's 40 years since the first Stockholm conference, it's 20 years since the last Earth Summit on sustainability. Roberto, what is your expectation in front of Rio Summit next year?
It's a low expectation. I think it's always good to keep expectations low so that we are not too much disappointed later. But I think there are actual reasons for being very cautious because of so far a lack of clear agenda for the meeting. I remember this is not necessarily bad news. I mean, it might actually mean that over a shorter time we have conditions, let's say, of more political nature to build an agenda that sometimes doesn't happen through diplomatic efforts. I chaired the International NGO Steering Committee for the Rio 92. What we need to have now is political decision making about setting the right agenda.
Do you think that Brazil, with the new political leadership, has an ambition to take a leadership with the new president after Lula? What is your feeling?
Yes, of course, Brazil has a comparative advantage, so Brazil should be able in leading, structuring change. And I personally think that Brazil would have a lot of gains if we are advocating for these domestically, and we are trying to put these on the agenda of President Dilma.
So the forest issue is something that you from Friends of the Earth in Brazil will put on the agenda?
Definitely, because forest to us is not just an issue of conservation, but it is an issue, as I mentioned before, to transform our comparative advantage into competitive one. With critical issues like forest, but also investment in innovation, technology, science.
How do you see the mayor's role?
We just had here in São Paulo a couple of weeks ago a number of mayors from the 40 largest cities to meet and exchange a number of very interesting experiences. Unfortunately, we only have this kind of learning share experiences. We don't actually have structured policies for metropolitan area, and I think that we should shape policies, and policies that can happen at the level of the local mayor. These are usually national policies that need to create the conditions for then the mayors and the local administrations to build on top of those.
Thank you, Roberto, for this interview.